and gentlemen, let's go. Gaming, tech, culture. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. You're listening to the Cool Black Nerd Podcast, presented by Say What Radio.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 33 of the Cool Black Nerd Podcast. This is Arsenic. I am your host, Jules, and we're joined by everybody's favorite co-host.
What's up, everybody? Oh man, how are we feeling this week?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know, I had some time off work. You know, I got to spend some time with some family. Got to see some family I haven't seen in a long time. In California, we had managed to go to a Lakers game. Had a good time. It was really nice.
You know what? Your Instagram was giving me FOMO. Y'all were having some fun, man.
It was pretty. It was really good because we started out with the trip. It was gonna just be me. Then I told other people that I was going to visit an uncle that I hadn't seen in a long time, and some other folks tagged along, and it kind of turned it into a little mini family reunion. It was real nice.
That's very, very cool.
Real nice. I'm glad we got a chance to do it.
During that time, I was able to give you and the rest of our listeners a wonderful surprise. If you following us on Instagram, got noticed that I think it was the week before we hit top 200 on the charts for Cool Black Nerd Podcast. Yes, we did.
Yeah, that's what's up. Turn it up.
We hit top 200 on USA and then top 200 on global, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that was kind of cool. That was really kind of cool.
Okay, then. So now we worldwide, huh?
We've been worldwide.
I appreciate everybody who listens. I want y'all to know, obviously that's not even a thing unless people are listening. So we definitely appreciate you guys. And I hope that you continue to listen.
Please. And when I did post it, we did get a wonderful voice memo from one of the voice messages in IG from a listener who's just like, man, I love the show. And let Jules, I let Jules listen to it. He was just kind of like smiling. And the guy asked me the next day in the same DM, what'd he say?
Oh man,
I thought that was so cool. I was like, man, see, this is. I love doing these shows, but that type of stuff just makes it, it's the icing on the cake right there.
Yeah, that's what's up. It's definitely a good feeling. I appreciate you, sir, for leaving your voicemail. Thank you. You personally. I appreciate it. All right, so let's jump into it. As we were talking about kind of preparing for this episode, this show is about gaming, tech, and culture. And this is one of those episodes I think you're about to get all three. So let's start with gaming, just because there's been a lot of big releases that have come out recently. You got God of War, which appears to be like one of the most successful launches of all time. A new Call of Duty is out, and we have like a dark horse contender for Game of the Year that I'm playing right now. And it's very fun, but we're going to start with God of War. Jessica, I know you have the game. What do you think about it?
So far, I am just so in love. Like, this franchise has always had a special place in my heart. The first trilogy, God of War 2, God of War 3. I mean, those types of names, you can't go wrong, right? But I don't know what it was, but it was just very much something that just kind of struck a chord with me. And I played it with my brother when we were younger, because these came out late 90s, like 99 or something like that.
Say late 90s into 2000s, I believe.
Yeah.
I think so.
And 2018, I think it was, they redid it. And I was not expecting much, but what we got was just so much more than I ever could have imagined. And even with this, I was thinking, hey, this isn't going to be very much. And they managed to exceed the expectations again. So, man, I am, most of the time we always talk about, Destiny being the game that we play right now. That has all my attention. And playing it on my PS4 because PS5s were still out in the wild, like chupacabras. I don't know what to do when it comes to this. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. The story, the graphics. The one thing that I think is really, really significant is the character development. And I know people who don't play video games or the people who listen to us who are kind of like a video game character development. Yes. When I tell you these stories, these dynamics that are in these games, it's just like you really kind of feel more immersed in it than you would a movie. And I don't know how you do that, but they did that in this franchise.
Yeah, I would agree.
So one thing that
Go
I
ahead.
found that was a little bit different. God of War tended to be a very much of a hack and slash, and when I say gory, it was gory. They managed to keep the hack and slash without the gore this time, and the reason why made so much sense because you have the Ragnarok actually happening, and their reasoning was that things are just different and not the same. Like the realms are turned upside down. So the stuff that would fall out, the blood that would come out would just be dust or smoke or something or whatever. And I thought that was really kind of cool because I know that's always been an issue or a sore spot for people because they're like, oh, it's just so bloody. Well, it's not bloody anymore, but I just ripped that lizard man's face right now. Yeah, he just had no blood in
Okay, well that
there.
I think that's actually pretty funny. You know what I didn't even notice that. And let me tell you guys, I think this kind of speaks to the character development because I'm also a pretty big fan of the God of War franchise, but I have not played the last two God of War games, not the one that came before. I think it was just called God of War, and then this one, God of War Ragnarok. The way that I played those games is I've just watched someone playing them on YouTube, like from beginning to end, and it is like watching a movie.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the character development, like it's not a joke. Like you can see how the story has affected the characters in the game. I mean, even like just from the dialogue, even the way they fight is different, and you can tell that it just comes from the story, which I think is incredible. And yeah, the graphics look good, and it really is. And I mean, so just so you guys know, God of War Ragnarok, me watching like beginning to end, and this is somebody who, just watching somebody who they weren't giving any commentary. They were just playing the game straight through. They didn't do any side quests. It was 18 hours.
Yeah.
And I know that people would be like, oh my God, I can't believe you sat and watched somebody play a game for 18 hours. You're right, but also I'm gonna say I bet you watched all three Lord of the Rings movies. So you sat somewhere and watched for however long that is. So don't come for
Um,
me. But
or, or they binged an entire season of whatever on Netflix. So yeah,
right.
I mean, it really is, yeah, very much like that.
So yeah. You used to it. You know what it is. And if and for somebody who does not like or who doesn't feel like they would play games, I would suggest you try it just to see if maybe you can get into the story.
Watching it,
That might be a good jumping out. Yeah, just watch it
yeah.
and see how you feel about it. Get a bucket of popcorn, sit down and watch maybe like the first chapter or two. See how you feel. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I do know, thanks to our crack research team, it has sold more than Call of Duty, more than Elden Ring, and more than Pokemon at this point. And considering the game has been out for what, like 2 weeks, I think that's pretty
Not
good.
even in 2 weeks. Not even 2 weeks. It will be a week Thursday.
Oh wow, got you.
Yeah.
And it looks like along with that, because and I don't think we mentioned it, but God of War Ragnarok is a PlayStation exclusive, so you can only get it on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 right now. Looks like it also resulted in the biggest week of sales for the PlayStation 5 console,
Yeah.
which is crazy because PlayStation 5 has been basically selling out
Yeah.
every time some get made. So
Like I said, chupacabras, you just catch them in the wind. They like Bigfoots. If you catch them, like, man, it's crazy. But the Ragnarok and God of War bundle, there were two different ones. The bundles for PS5, more expensive if you got a deluxe edition of the game, and then the regular edition. But yeah, I think you said half of the consoles sold were, yeah, just that actual bundle. And every time they came up and it was just gone, I was just like, you know what? It's just not for me to have on the PS5. I'm gonna just roll with my little PS4. And when yeah,
I mean,
as
yeah,
Jules
I
said,
feel that.
that little PS4, it'd be putting in some work trying to get these graphics in there. You could hear it just huffing and puffing in there. and it gets hot in that room.
Oh no, see, I can't deal with that. So I'm glad I just watched it. Uh, and you
Yeah.
know what? It was 100% my plan to buy a PlayStation 5 to get God of War Ragnarok, but like you said, it sold out. I can't I can't find one, so I don't have one yet. Eventually, I will get one though.
I mean,
Eventually,
if
I will
we
get one.
have some people out there who'd love to sponsor the show and give us you know, one to try out, definitely, yeah, we are open to that. Just saying.
Yes, yes, we are. We are open to sponsorships. Please reach out, and maybe we can negotiate. We'll let you know. Another game that I wanted to talk about. I mean, I know we mentioned a new Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2 came out. It's Call of Duty
Yeah, with the new
from
skin.
Activision. You know, you've played Call of Duty before, or you've heard about it, you've seen it. They got another one out. It's been selling pretty fast. It's Call of Duty. This is what you expect. One game that I want to talk about, and I just started playing this game today. I saw I had been hearing rumblings about it, like hearing here and there the name of this game, Vampire Survivors. And what sold it for me today, I finally saw a YouTube video of somebody just talking about the game. And let me start by saying the game is $5. It has kind of that 8-bit graphic look or 16-bit graphic look like you're playing a Sega Genesis. But it's just a very good game. It's called Vampire Survivors. And you pick a character. It's like a horde mode, like those arena shooter horde mode games. It's a top-down 16-bit view, and it's just a fun, simple little game. It's $5. There's no microtransactions. Hallelujah. You pay $5, you got the whole game.
Hmm.
And it's just a fun little game to play on the side. But to me, it's so good and just so nostalgic for like just what a game used to be. I kind of agree. It's like a dark horse game of the year candidate. It's not gonna win, right? But it's got to at least get nominated.
So it's kind of like, bringing you back to the, Double Dragons, Bad Dudes type thing, or is it even
Yes.
earlier than that?
No. Yeah. Double Dragons, Bad
Okay.
Dudes. Oh, I can't think of it on Sega Genesis. The two aliens, Toe Jam and Earl, kind of like that.
All right, all right, all right. I'm gonna really have to check this out because you're not the first person to bring this up. Like I've been seeing it all over social media when it comes to this, just playing this. So I'm gonna have to definitely check that out.
Survivors. This definitely a cool black nerd recommends, especially just because it's under the radar. And I mean, if you got an extra $5, I say go for it. You can play it on Steam. You can use a controller or you can use mouse and keyboard. Very accessible game. Very easy to understand what's going on. And man, just go have fun. All right, so let's get into some tech news, which I think let's start with the good news first. If you want to call this good news, Microsoft has banned nearly 5 million users as it combats harassment and cheating. One of their executives says what's so reassuring about the bans is that they were proactive bans. So people were banned for cheating or harassing people before they really got to ruin somebody else's experience.
And unfortunately, that is really rampant. Just I guess, on all outlets. It's not just Microsoft. We we've seen what has happened on other social media outlets, but it really can like degrade your experience if you have this type of stuff happening
Right.
in multiplayer games when you're just trying to have fun and somebody either is throwing extremely vulgar language or actually cheating, flying through the air with lasers, and you got just a regular hand cannon or only supposed to have a knife. Like what had happened?
Exactly. So I mean, I'm glad they've done this. Microsoft, especially Xbox, honestly has had a reputation, and I think is well deserved for being like the, let's say, the cesspool or the sewer of
Oh my.
multiplayer games. Like you would go play a multiplayer game, and it would just be racial slurs, too
Mm.
much. People cuss. I cuss, but just too much cussing. And then to make it worse, you'd be playing a game, somebody would beat you, it's cool, but then you hear them talking smack, and you find out it's a 12-year-old just called you a racial slur and told you they want to do inappropriate things with members of your family. And you're just like, come on, man. And then his kids saying this to me. I, I don't have
Yeah.
time for this. And
Yeah.
that experience, honestly, you would think you would have that experience on PC. I have not, especially not to that level. I've
Yeah.
never had that experience on PlayStation, like at all.
Yeah.
And Nintendo, I mean, does Nintendo even let you chat? So,
Oh, it does. And it's trying to be a clone. It's bad.
oh, it's bad. Okay.
Yeah. And let me say that. Let me put that out there right now. If you have a Switch and you are trying to get like the Nintendo Live service for your babies, don't do it. It is bad on there. It's real bad.
Well, like I
Yeah.
said, I'm glad that Microsoft is doing this. It's something that they've needed to do. And I mean, 4.8 million accounts. That's a lot.
Mm,
I don't know how
mm.
many accounts they got out there, but that's
Seems a little excessive, but yeah.
in the words of Barry Bonds, and I know he's controversial. I just know he said, look, whether you're rich or poor, 5 million of anything is a lot. I don't know how they could have 200 million subscribers, but god dog it, 5 million is a lot to just
Yeah.
ban all at once like that. And hopefully they continue to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they're doing, like you said, they're doing some housekeeping stuff to make sure that their stuff is in order. I wish, FTX would have done that.
Man, okay, so let's talk about FTX. FTX, there is a cryptocurrency exchange that is filing for bankruptcy because
I think at this point it's almost like insolvency. I don't even know if they'll be able to do
yeah, they're insolvent. I don't think
bankruptcy.
they're going to be able to
Yeah.
come back. Well, I guess they will still have to go through bankruptcy. It's just nobody's going to get anything.
Well, no, that's the thing. I don't even think they can at this point. That's how bad it is.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
and how all of this started is still just mind-bogglingly funny to me. So as Jules said, FTX is a crypto exchange and it's very similar to like the exchange houses that you see for like Wall Street and the other stocks and things like that. Think E-Trade, but for crypto. And again, crypto being, I can't even really explain it. It's a decentral, I'm not even, I'm not going to go there. Crypto is supposed to be like the poor man's version or the rich man's version of the stock exchange. Supposed to be an easy way to make money and, let it be open to all people, not necessarily worry about certain barriers that come with stocks and exchanges and learning curves and things like that. That is the idea. That is not how it is going. But there is another crypto exchange called Binance, which is the number one crypto exchange. And FTX at this time was number two. The owner of the FTX exchange, I'm trying to see if I can find the dude's name. Sam, is it Freed? Freed? Yeah, whatever. I never really paid attention to him because I think they always called him Bankman and I never really like listened to it. But
Got you.
he tweeted out a tweet that mentioned Binance. I think he was just being cheeky at the time because again, he was number two and feeling himself. The owner of Binance then tweets back with a hit basically saying if, people who are in glass houses shouldn't throw stones type thing. That is similar to what he said. But it put in the thought or the doubt in most people's minds about FTX to where people started looking into them. I don't know why they weren't looking into them, prior to this, but they did. So what they
I can
found
tell you why.
is why.
They nobody looked into it because the guy Sam Bankman-Fried, like he was getting a lot of positive press. He was like the new kid on the block, Mr. Wonderful of crypto. So he just had a lot of wow, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to.
He had clout,
Yeah,
basically.
he just had a lot of clout surrounding crypto. So people, people trusted him, thought it was going to be a good situation.
Yeah. But once they started looking into this, what they found is that there was I think it's like a venture capital or something like that, and they held all of the money or all of the tokens that were in this crypto exchange with them. And they kind of did a very similar switcheroo type of thing that was going on for the financial, actually, yeah, the financial collapse of 2008 with the housing crash and things like that. The way that they would have those subprime mortgages, it was very, very similar to that in this crypto exchange. It was just like they were hiding this debt, but then the way they made it look like is that, well, I'm sorry, not the crypto exchange, but Enron. That's what I was thinking about. I'm sorry, not the housing crash, but Enron. They were making their debt look like it was income to fluff up their numbers. And this venture capitalist knew that they were doing this, but continued to go and, inflate the numbers and just, it was Alameda Partners or something like that. I think it was, but they continued to keep doing this. And that is the only way that they were able to actually show the type of numbers that they were showing. And if I'm not mistaken, it was somewhere in the realm of like 52 billion that they were saying that they of the money that they actually had when it was not actually liquid. They were leveraging these people's money against the debt that they'd already had for the crypto exchange. And that made no sense. So
Right.
people who had actually invested in them, yeah.
Especially after they said customers investment. So meaning like if me, I decide, hey, I'm gonna buy $10 in some crypto. I'm gonna put my little $10 in there and see,
Mhm.
see what it do. They said that, they're not going to actually use my deposit on their own to get investments, which is like some banks do. They'll take your deposit, play with it in the stock market. They get, they make some money, you get like 2% interest. That was not supposed to be happening with FTX.
Yeah.
But it looks like that's
Yeah,
exactly what was
yeah.
happening.
And what made it so funny is that this guy went and testified against not against, but in front of one of the either the House or the Senate about the issues that they were, trying to resolve or the doubts and fears that they had about crypto. And he was saying the reason that the issue happened with places like Enron, specifically talking about that, like Enron and the housing crashes, because these regulations aren't in place for people to do these types of things, and no one was doing any checks and balances when it turned out they was doing the exact same thing. It was just like I mean, some of the footage that came up on, and it was just literally one tweet that took people into some sort of just a
Yeah,
seed
the
of doubt.
Binance CEO tweeted
Yeah.
people started doubting FTX, so people went to pull their money out.
Hmm.
And so when they found out your money is not actually there.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally built on a Ponzi scheme and this guy's social media clout, because he was on everything. If I'm not mistaken, like he had sponsorships of freaking Tom Brady, Super Bowl commercials. Like,
Yes.
yeah, this guy, there was not at one point in time a YouTube video that I didn't see, because at one point in time I don't know if you guys, well, I'm pretty sure you have, but if you listen to some of the older episodes, I was doing my little thing in crypto, pretty pictures. I don't want to talk about it. And once I'd, done a little bit of research into it, YouTube, the algorithm would just show you all crypto. At, this guy's face and videos about him was kind of like everywhere. I didn't really think anything of it at the time because they kept going like, well, he's a billionaire who drives a Corolla. And I'm like, so this is why you think he's worth listening to or putting your money into because he drives a Corolla? Like, really?
You know what? We can have a conversation about that too one day. That's been coming up a lot lately, just in my conversations with my friends, like talking about some of these billionaires, like this guy, or like an Elon Musk, or I'ma say it, even Kanye West. They sure. The thought is you have to be a genius or incredibly smart about something to become a billionaire, and that to even for that, I will say that's a conversation for a different day as well. But
Yeah.
when it comes to this, what I'm saying is Kanye West is a musical genius. I don't need to listen to Kanye about financial policy, right?
Yeah.
Elon Musk, let's say, is a genius about electric cars. I don't need to listen to Elon Musk talking to me about music. right? But I think that just because somebody's a billionaire, I guess is what I'm saying, does not mean that this person knows everything about everything, or that this person is obviously an honest, trustworthy person just
Mhm.
because they're a billionaire.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we see happened here with this,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Very much so. What made it such a, I think, a drama filled kind of like debacle, even that when, all of this sprang from one tweet with everybody going to pull out their money and seeing that they were $8 billion short of the money needed to be able to give to the people who had actually invested. The first, the owner of Binance actually tweeted out again that they would try to pursue an acquisition of FTX. But even after doing their due diligence in that part of the acquisition, they have to open up the books. They were like, we will not be even trying this because it shows that they mishandled customer funds as well as some agency investigations. Basically, they were on some highly, highly illegal stuff as well. And it's been said, I'm not saying, I don't know if this is actually true, it's still alleged that the owner, Sam Bankman-Friedman, is in Bahamas right now under guard to make sure that he doesn't run. And I don't know how true that is, but it was saying, he also tweeted out, there are two big lessons from this entire situation. Never use tokens that you've created as collateral, and don't borrow if you run a crypto business. Don't use capital efficiently. Have a reserve, which seems like, as Jules said earlier, like it would be common sense to not do this. But it's just like people get greedy and they're just like, nope, got to do this. Like, how have you not learned?
If you are going to have people giving you money like that,
Yeah,
you need to have enough money to give it back to them. If if you're going to operate in that way, like if you're going to operate essentially as a bank, you need to be able to cover people's deposits. And unfortunately for the customers, crypto is not held to the same regulatory standards as a
yeah,
regular bank. Like you don't have that FDIC insurance. So
yeah.
the bank goes under or the exchange goes under. And it's not a result of you making bad investment choices. Like you bought, I don't know, Dogecoin 3.0 and it just went to zero. That's a different thing. This is, they literally just did not have the money to give you that should have just been in your account, and you're not covered,
Wow.
unfortunately. So
Um,
I think as this company collapses, I think a lot of people are going to lose a whole lot of money,
yeah.
unfortunately.
And I think this is the third crypto exchange that this has happened to, because I know it happened to Celsius.
Hmm.
I believe at one point in time it was happening to Coinbase. I don't know where that's going or where it's been, but I did get,
Yeah, I have to look back in the coin. I mean,
yeah,
Coinbase is still around. They managed to survive whatever it was they were going through. Unfortunately, I don't remember. Excuse
yeah,
me. You are
yeah.
right about Celsius, and then yeah, this one. I mean, it's unfortunate that some of these cryptocurrency exchanges are going under like this, and it really is like for some people, that could be losing their life savings.
Oh yeah. And unfortunately, even if you did not, it does not matter if you were just like, oh well, I was just using another crypto, but I was using a different exchange. If this house, which again was number two in the world, had any ties to any type of crypto that you were invested in, doesn't actually have to be the coin that they had, which was FTT, if I'm not mistaken. Like Solana and some other tokens have actually dropped over half just for having ties to that company. It does not matter. Their reach was very, very far. So I think everybody who had at least even a pinky toe in this is going to lose some money.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, yeah, it's
And it,
unfortunate.
it,
But I
it
don't.
really, really is, because it doesn't seem common sense. That's what it just seems like this would be. But even in other situations, such as Meta or Facebook.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have heard recently Facebook, or well, let's call it the name of the company, Meta. I wish you could see my face and give you the side eye at that name. They laid off 11,000 employees a little over a week ago because they're saying, there's a lot of financial pressure, inflation. Looks like there's going to be a recession. Ad revenues are down. Blah, 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 blah. And the reason I'm saying blah, 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 blah is because Mark Zuckerberg, he made a big bet on the metaverse. Changed the name of the company from Facebook to Meta. His vision is for Meta to be the first mover on the metaverse, the company that gets all of it going. And to now, it's been an abject, just honestly, an absolute failure. The company is losing billions and billions and billions of dollars per year on projects that they have working on Meta. His board of directors are getting antsy. His investors are getting antsy. People are asking questions. So the solution was, let's just lay off 11,000 people versus why don't we pivot back to our core business and keep these people around. To me, and I think this to me is unfortunate. A lot of people just lost their job based on somebody's ego, somebody not willing to admit that they made a mistake and change course. Facebook used to be like one of a company that was like valued at like $1 trillion. It was one of the quote unquote highest flying companies in the world. Like when people would jump into the stock market, they'd be like, "Oh, make sure you get those FANG stocks." People like, "What is FANG?" That meant Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Like those are the stocks you wanted to buy because the idea was these stocks are going to be stable almost forever. And man, right now, I mean, Netflix aside, we talked about them before. They take that N out of there. You got to take Facebook off of that too now. Like the company has lost like 70% of its value in the last year.
Just about.
Just doing whatever they're doing with the metaverse that, I mean, for better or worse, no one is using.
Yeah, they've been trying to force their employees to go into the metaverse.
Yep, trying to force the employees. It's bad when the guy who's supposed to be like the head of development for the metaverse at Facebook sends out an email that essentially says, if we don't like using it, why would we expect anyone else to use it? Mm-hmm. So you know something is wrong there. Man,
the funny thing about it really is. And it comes back to what we were saying before, this is just common sense stuff. But the funny thing about it is the bet he is making, if it were to work, would be like somebody getting in on the ground floor of, and I know I'm doing this for effect, Bitcoin when it came out, or Apple when it did first come out. I get that is a big bet, but let me kind of define what the metaverse is supposed to be. When you think about this, they're thinking about you living, like doing all of the things that you do now on the internet in a virtual world. What? Like you already have enough people, as we were saying before, in just playing a game, being very, very vitriolic and hateful to some people. And you want them to be able to do that with an avatar? Is that it? Yes, that sounds weird, but I think his idea is to kind of, I'm not sure if this reference will be gotten, but hey, be like Wally and the fat people in the floaty chairs, where everything is just pretty much you are just on this all the time. If you're in a Teams meeting, you will be in there with four little talking heads and you having a headset on your face as you're in this meeting. That's the thing that I don't think is being relayed a lot of times, or he's not really understanding. If I don't want to sit in front of my computer with just the webcam on, because most people don't, what makes you think I'm gonna just sit there with this headset on my head for 2 hours or whatever in this meeting? Common sense. This is not there. I'm not doing that. And most people aren't doing that.
Mm-mm.
But the bet that he's making, and if it were to work, or if he was to make a way for it to work, as you said before, if you to become a billionaire, you gotta have these ideas. it would be astronomical. It really, really would. It's just in this stage with the money that they're putting in, which is billions of dollars a year. Oh, I'm sorry, not even a year. I think it's quarter. It's just it's just not gonna work.
A loss. It's all a loss right now. So yeah, just to give you a idea, last quarter, $3.67 billion in losses based on just the team that at Facebook that's working on the metaverse. I hope that turns around, man. Getting laid off sucks. I've been there, especially when I feel like most people could see that the company made a bad bet, and they're just. It's unfortunate that this guy gets to make a bad bet that I feel like most people would agree is wrong, and he went in big, and the people who are paying for it, unfortunately, are the people who lost their jobs. I mean, that's how companies work, so you can't be mad at that. It's just a
Yeah, you
bad
can.
situation. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
can't be
can.
mad at it.
I
Uh,
mean, this is. I'm going to be honest. This is in my eyes, not speaking wholly for me. This is a very similar situation to the FTX thing. You're gambling with other people's livelihood.
yeah, that's true. I'll give you that for sure. And I mean, I guess moving on to another billionaire who appears to be
Doing the same.
doing things. Twitter. Twitter is
Oh
now
man.
wholly owned by Elon Musk.
Oh man.
He's laid off a lot of people. Got rid of 50% of. I'm not sure how many official, quote unquote, official Twitter employees were laid off. It was a lot. But then also got rid of at least 80% of the contractors
Yeah. Yeah.
that they had as well
Mm-hmm.
within a week of becoming the owner. He also tried.
Wait.
Oh, okay. What?
And all that, 50% and the 80%,
Huh?
the very next day in most of those cases, he had to ask those people back because they could not run it.
Oh, yeah, he did have to ask someone back because they couldn't run the company without him.
Yeah, because they couldn't run. Yeah.
His first big idea, because he took over, hate speech shot up, misinformation shot up because he was supposed to be the quote unquote "I'm gonna let you say what you want to say on here" guy. So advertisers start leaving the platform, or at least putting their advertisements on hold. So the company starts losing more money than it has been losing. So his big idea to turn it around was, hey, we got to get subscription revenue up. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to let people pay $8 a month and we will give them a verified check mark.
Yep.
For those of you who don't use Twitter or have never used it or never heard of it, it's a social media platform where people can just go and pretty much, for the most part, say whatever they want to say. Sure, they had some moderation around hate speech or going on there saying you want to do something violent to people. Just things to keep the platform clean enough so that advertisers would feel okay putting whatever ad they wanted to out there, right? Just like any other social media website, there was a level of moderation that you would expect. And there was, a group of people who complained about not having their free speech violated, etc., whatever, so on. Honestly, you had to be saying some pretty crazy shit to get your account suspended or even banned. So it's not like you couldn't just go on there and really say some stuff. Like you look on there before he took over, you could go on there and say some things and be fine. But anyway, Elon Musk takes over, so these people now feel empowered. They go out there saying even crazier stuff.
Yep.
Advertisers start leaving. So his idea again, we're gonna up their subscription and revenue. We're gonna let people pay to have their account verified. But a verified account in the past used to mean that Twitter made sure that this person is who they say they are. They are important for some reason. Maybe it's a journalist. Maybe it's a politician. Maybe it's a company like Nike would have a verified Twitter account. And I'm going to say Eli Lilly, the company that is responsible for a lot of insulin in this country, would have a verified Twitter account, right? So that when they tweet it, people would know, hey, this is coming from that person, or this is like the official language. These are the official words, the message that is coming from this person or from this company. and we know it's them because it's verified by Twitter, right? It took
And
extra steps to make sure that it's who it is. They are who they say they are. So
yeah,
now,
and this verification system is actually something, or the check mark is something that is across most social media platforms. So you'll see it on Instagram, you see it on Facebook, you'll see it on YouTube, you'll even see it on TikTok. So it is something that is widely accepted and widely known.
all right. So now anybody can get their account verified for $8 a month without actually being checked out. You just pay $8, you get the blue check. So obviously, what did people do? People paid $8 and decided that you know what? My name is President Joe Biden, verified. I can say whatever I want. Nintendo, verified, and that one was actually funny because the person who did that tweeted a 3D, like an image of Mario throwing up the middle finger. Eli Lilly, the company I brought up about insulin, somebody decided that they wanted to be verified Eli Lilly and announced that insulin would be free, which I'm not mad at if Eli Lilly really did that, which
Right.
obviously they didn't, but they lost half of their value on the stock market based on that tweet from the quote unquote verified account.
Yeah.
It's just been an absolute shit show. And the tweets that I saw, somebody created a wildlife. No. What's the Department of? Oh my goodness, gosh, I wish I could look it up. But like the official account for the United States that would tweet about wildfires, and they were just like, Twitter is 85% on fire, 0% contained right now. And I was like,
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
that's probably the best.
That is pretty much it. What made it so funny is as soon as they brought that out, they'd also put in, because they were like, okay, so you'll be verified, but you'll also have the people who were verified before, who were actually quote unquote official, will now have another check that says that they're official. Nobody knew about that. Nobody understood what that was. And then 2 hours later, he wrote that back. And when this whole debacle got worse and worse, he really knew he was in trouble, because he had this idea of, oh, free speech is back and comedy is king on Twitter again, until it had to do with him. So what people started
Yes.
doing is they were already verified. So they started changing their profile pictures and changing their handles and stuff to Elon Musk and tweeting out some funny stuff or some hilarious stuff or some vulgar stuff. In the beginning, the first couple of times, he's like, yeah, whatever. No one cares. No one cares. Then all of a sudden, those tweets started to disappear and those accounts started to disappear. He was banning them. This was a person who said free speech is back and comedy is king. He was banning them, banning these people who are now parodying him. And he was saying, well, you can't do that. You can't. It's always been a part of Twitter's rules where you can't do a parody account without saying it's a parody account. So people started putting parody account in there, as Elon Musk is still didn't care, still got banned. But when the thing with Eli Lilly happened, there was also another company that had a similar interaction where they ended up losing like 60% of their value on the stock exchange because of that. Some people were saying, well, no, they had other issues that were going on. The same with Eli Lilly. Like they had recalled a drug or something like that prior to that. And I said, also, there's no way this tweet didn't have any effect on it. But with this whole thing, the whole point of doing the verification is to let people know that when they're listening or hearing this stuff from people, that it is them. Now that you are, okay, as we said before, putting companies and people's livelihood at stake, he has now put himself in the position of being liable for this. Or, yeah, if anything happens, I don't see how he cannot be sued, which is already happening to one. I think he's being sued by like some band or a drummer or something like that.
I haven't heard about this lawsuit, but I agree. I think I don't know. We'll see. We're going to see. I think there's going to be some interesting interesting things going on with Twitter for the.
This is the last thing I'll say about Twitter. I got to get this out. If you are on Twitter, please get off there. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because Twitter is being run in their production site, on a dev build. And what that means is this is essentially kind of like a beta, or not even a beta, but a test version of the site with security holes, aversions to privacy risks, and all kind of other stuff. That means anything that you could be putting on there, because a lot of times when they do dev builds, they do this to make sure that they can go ahead and create the product without having to worry about the restrictions that limit them in the production, which have to worry about, as I said before, privacy risks, security risks, and making sure that none of your data is being leaked in some way, shape, or form. Just a few things. None of that is there right now. The production build on the live site is a dev build. Do not gamble with your livelihood, your phone, or whatever right now on that site.
All right, you heard it. This is from a director of quality assurance, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. Uh, let's
Yeah.
talk about something fun that was good, something great for the culture. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever came out. Hey, you know what? We had a chance to see it together. Fortunately, just that really just hit me just now. That was dope. What did you think?
Okay. So I'm going to make sure that I do not have any spoilers or anything in this.
This, oh yeah, we forgot
Yeah.
that. This is the spoiler-free discussion of Black
Yeah.
Panther 2: Wakanda Forever. There will be a spoiler-filled discussion immediately following this, and we'll let you know when that starts.
So going into it, as you said, we were able to see it with our group of friends. And just on that alone, I was just like, okay, this is awesome. And our seats were amazing, able to get
Mhm,
there
mhm.
on time. Just sitting in that theater, I was so anxious. Like it seemed like the trailers went on forever because I was just like, start the movie.
It was 30 minutes worth of trailers.
But once they started that movie, I was going like, please, you go ruin my makeup. Don't do it.
So somebody was in there cutting up onions, huh?
They were cutting. I don't know
Somebody
why
was
they brought
cutting
them
them
onions
onions
in
in the
there.
movie theater like that. That
Yeah,
wasn't right.
but
Yeah,
I
continue.
know I've seen some people say that it disappointed them and they expected more. I honestly went in just kind of going like, I don't know where you can go with this. You can't go funny, funny. You'll end up with like Love and Thor. I'm sorry, was it Love and the Thor movie, Love
Love and
and
Thunder, yeah.
London Thunder? Yeah,
A little
which
bit too
was,
goofy.
yeah, for the subject matter that they were talking about in some instances. And you couldn't just go straight action because like the main hero was gone.
He
Like
got to deal with Chadwick Boseman
yeah.
passing away.
And they did an amazing job of transitioning into that. And the emotion and acting throughout this movie was beyond what I ever could have thought in a comic book movie. Like the first Black Panther was amazing because it had elements of cool culture, nostalgia, and just this feeling of this is something different. We've never had this before. Coming into this kind of was like an elevated, not only do we have this, but how do we keep it feeling? And I was just so in awe of it. The only thing that I think was a problem was the runtime. The movie is 2 hours and 41 minutes. I do feel like there is some areas they could have shaved that off. Some instances of like side quests or plot lines that really didn't need to be there. The villain was amazing. His delivery was just kind of on the not on the level of like serial killerish, but you did kind of like want to trust him, but also feared him. But I will say, I did find some of the inherent danger kind of fabricated, and I'll say what that is when I go into the spoiler stuff.
I
How about you?
got you. All right, sounds good. So I think the movie was great as well. I agree that the movie was probably a little bit too long, but it. Yeah, I guess I'll save that for the. Well, I'm gonna say it now. So as an example, I'm just gonna say if we take like the Carter Five album, that album came out. It was highly anticipated from Lil Wayne, and I don't remember how many songs it had on. It had like 25 songs or more on that album. And after listening to it, what I said to my friends was Carter 5 was a great album at 15 songs. At 25, it was all right. And I'm not saying that that Black Panther 2 is all right. I'm just saying it could have, to me, it could have been even better than what I think it is and what you just
Mhm.
talked about if some of it had been cut. I don't know that they could have cut just because they had so many things to deal with. You know, you have to deal with, again, the passing of Chadwick Boseman. You have to figure out how does this, whatever plans they had for Black Panther before obviously had to change. So
Yeah.
we have to figure out how do we make this story fit into the bigger plan for the MCU now. And I think it was just a lot of things that they had to go through. That being said, I agree 100% with everything you said. I think that it elevated what we got from a cultural perspective in Black Panther 1. Getting to see that Afrofuturism just develop, fantastic. Getting to see how the characters develop, fantastic. The acting, very good. And let me tell you something, Letitia Wright. I'm not checking for Letitia Wright. I'm not necessarily a fan of hers, but damn it, she did some good acting in that movie.
She did.
I gotta admit that. I have to
Yes.
admit that she was really good. Everybody was really good from an acting perspective. Man, Tenoch Huerta played that character to a T. Perfectly
did.
played character for the villain of the movie. And I'm I, I'm excited to see what they do for Black Panther 3. It makes me feel good that they are already talking about Black Panther 3 in interviews.
Yeah.
Go see the movie, y'all. That's what we're
Please.
saying. Yeah, you need to go see it. Go
It
check it
is.
out.
It is very much a recommend. I do not recommend it in a like at nightly screening. So if the latest I would say to go is 7. If you go any further after that, you're going to be very tired, and anything that happens during it, you're not going to care for
Yep.
and
Go to the
not give it a
restroom
chance.
before the movie starts because you're gonna be in there for a while.
Yeah, you will. You will.
And I think now it might be time for us to get a little bit more detail. So we are about to spoil Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Get if you need to fast forward to the end, you want to hear us sign off of the podcast. You know what? For those of you who don't want to hear spoilers, y'all have a nice day. We appreciate you listening. We'll be back soon. Check out all of the other podcasts that are part of the Say What Radio Network. I'm very sure you'll find another one that you enjoy. We about to spoil this movie.
You can. What I would also suggest: stop the episode right now and come back to it after you have seen it. I will say that.
Oh
Do
yeah, yeah, do that.
do that too.
All right.
Okay, we're giving you 2 more seconds now. 1, 2. All right.
The beginning of that movie was absolutely like that. That's what you needed to see for a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, I think, at least, as it goes in the movie. I was so glad that they did not have Black Panther die specifically from cancer, or even try to show like a 3D hologram of Chadwick Boseman dying from something.
Yeah.
I think that was the right choice to have him die off screen to just a generic illness. I think they did a good thing of tying it into the story of the previous movie that because Killmonger like destroyed all of the purple
Heart
heart,
shape.
the heart-shaped herb, that he could not overcome this illness. So now, it makes sense for the story. We get to see the funeral, which was beautifully done. There was a lot of African and even African American traditions in there. And it was emotional. I managed to hold it together.
I did not.
Okay.
I did
I
not.
went to see it the next day with my mom. My mom was not able to hold it together, that's saying something. Because my mom is not a comic book fan. She is not a fan of action movies. There are 2 Marvel movies that my mom likes now. Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That's it. She don't care about none of the other ones.
Yeah. And you don't even actually have to see any of the other ones for any of this to necessarily make sense. It's a couple of them that you're kind of like, I don't get, but it is still explained. But yeah, it is very, very good. Yeah, that first, I was just like, y'all gonna hit me with this? They hadn't even shown a title. And I was
Yep.
and then when they
And
changed
then the title is
the
another.
Marvel intro, they changed when they changed. Oh
Are you crying right now?
no!
Okay. It sounds like you are. Man, they changed the Marvel intro. That was another moment you got to get through. But I
Oh
managed to hold
Lord!
on. I managed
Yeah,
to
I
hold
was.
on.
Yeah, that was when I was like, I'm done. Just go ahead and let that tear fall and just wiped it off.
Oh my goodness. All right. So that happens. Boom. We cut to Angela Bassett giving that
Oh
speech at the UN, man. Let me say something. Angela Bassett got it. Like can she get a best supporting actress, best supporting actor Oscar for this?
yeah, man.
She got it. She got to
There,
get that.
there were some monologues just given in this, and if it did not make the hair on your arm or the back of your neck stand up, I think you may need to have something checked out because like it was just so electrifying and emotional. You could just feel it. Oh my God.
All
I
right.
need to I need to wrap up in my destiny blanket. Hold on.
Oh Lord.
It's, it's making me feel
Oh
things
man,
now.
what else? So okay, you get through that. She got your hair standing up. I feel like right now I'm just hitting all the like emotional moments.
There were a
The
lot
I'm gonna
to
say
to
that
get
this is the
through.
third time that you could potentially, somebody could start cutting some onions. Ramonde dies. I know that a lot of people in our friend group felt sad at this moment.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie
Uh,
to you. I was just pissed off. I was very upset. Not upset at the circumstance in which she dies in the movie. I was literally mad at Ryan Coogler personally for writing into the script of Black Panther Wakanda Forever Angela Bassett dying. It pissed me. I'm still upset about it.
oh, my.
So you mean to tell me we gonna have a Black Panther 3 and ain't gonna be no Angela Bassett? Or if she do show up, it's gonna be that weird ancestral plane Angela
Yeah.
Bassett?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
Where's Ryan Cook? Can our researcher find a cell phone or email for Ryan Coogler so I can express my displeasure with this
If you
decision?
you go on Twitter, you might be able to find it out
Well,
daily.
that
Anyways, but this is where I'm kind of like, that doesn't make any sense. And this Queen Ramonda dies from an attack from Namor and his people for a misunderstanding. Well, not a misunderstanding. It,
I
it, it
wouldn't
is what it is.
misunderstand it.
Basically, with Wakanda being the only country known to the world to have vibranium and them not sharing it with other people, other countries, of course, are becoming more hostile towards them, feeling like, oh, well, you're going to attack us with this or you're going to do that, blah, 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 whatever. It turns out that they took a machine or took the diagram of a machine to be able to find vibranium, and they found it in the ocean. In the ocean is where Namor and Dasilia, is it Talokan?
Talokan.
Talokan
Talokan. Uh-huh.
resides, where his people are. And they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to have the world coming to them because of stuff that has happened in the past, of how he came about, and their people actually came about
Yeah, which
from the
is a
surface
theme in the
world.
movie. So he's technically like the first mutant, right?
Yes,
In
that's
the
what it's looking
MCU,
like.
or even in the comic books, he's really really old too.
Yeah.
But the way he is born, I guess his mother is a Mayan like native, and as the Spanish conquistadors come over and raid and enslave these people, her tribe, let's say, finds a plant similar to the heart-shaped herb, except their plant is underwater, and they take that, and they are given the ability to live underwater. In fact, they cannot live out of the water for very long unless they have like little breathing masks or whatever. But he's born. She takes it while she's pregnant, so he's born with the ability to both be underwater and on land, and he can fly, and he has superhuman strength. Essentially, their version of the Black Panther, more or less. And when his mother dies, she wants to be buried on land where she's actually from. And he goes back, and that's where he sees these conquistadors enslaving people. They've like taken over the little area. And so obviously he's not happy with these quote unquote colonizers. And so he handles his business. And at that point, he's the leader of his people and, decides, hey, we don't want to have anything to do with the surface world.
Yeah. So with all of that, and as Jules says, he has superhuman strength. He can fly and things like that. And even when you see this city, like it is absolutely beautiful. Nothing in the city or nothing throughout the movie shows that they would be able to defeat Wakanda in anything. The Dora Milaje would just, fillet a fish everybody and keep it going. But they kept trying to drive it home that, they would, and I know they said it with the, the numbers that they have, but with the technology and things, I just didn't see that. I mean, they were all the most powerful thing that they were throwing at them, and most time were honestly water balloons. I'm not going to lie. It was like a water balloon that was a bomb.
Oh, this is what you're talking about. You didn't see the danger.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really, I know they kept trying to hammer it home, but I'm like, I really don't see this. Like I see him, but you're not gonna be able to take down everybody, which he couldn't.
Well, he could have until
Yeah.
he could have. He could have taken down everybody on his own. Because you got to remember, for most of the movie, we don't have a Black Panther. I agree they probably did not have the same level of technology, but I think for the people from Wakanda, one, it is the numbers. Two, they also have vibranium. So I think that fight on that bridge with Okoye, where there is no technology and it is basically just warriors and vibranium on vibranium, they were winning because they also would get strength from the water. I think that's what it is.
That was him,
No, they all
not them.
did. No, they all do.
See, again,
They
that's what
all
I'm saying.
did.
That's not conveyed in the movie. That don't make that
And then they also
no.
had them sirens. That's some scary shit.
Yeah, that was the only thing where I was like, okay, I get it.
Singing in the water and people just jumping in the ocean.
I'm like, is
Come
this
on
the
now.
happening? What is going on? But yeah, that was the only thing where I
But
was like,
I
okay,
get it. I get it. I get what you're saying. That I can see that. I can see what you're saying for sure. That didn't really see like how they could beat Wakanda.
so and maybe it's just me, but the description and the just display of Killmonger on how he could act out his plan was terrifying because you can see how that can come about. It was very hard to do that for Namor. Namor's motivation, I totally wholeheartedly understand because it was very much along the lines of, mostly what would you do to protect your people or, your family? I, I, I wholeheartedly get that. Just could not see his plan on doing it. And maybe it
Well,
just was
we
me.
did see it. We did
That's the
see his
thing. I
plan.
just, I
His
just,
plan
I
was
just don't.
flood the city, kill everybody.
I just didn't see how that was enough. I think maybe they were, if they drove home the point of Wakanda hasn't faced anybody else with vibranium, rather than what they were trying to say that they were a superior race. I think that's what it was, or superior foe that really wasn't being, to me, explained or shown. That's my feelings.
I got you.
Um,
So that's your.
yeah,
Is that your only gripe with the movie?
pretty that and the length. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
My gripe with the movie, which is unfortunate because it was cool, but we didn't need Riri Williams in this movie.
I was about to say that.
We didn't need Ironheart.
So it's on the cusp of Riri not being there, but then you don't have a point of the movie.
What do you mean?
I don't think we needed as much Riri.
I mean, what did we need from her part of the movie?
So
Like,
Um,
what was the point other than we're setting up Ironheart on Disney Plus?
she's a scientist that they need to kill, so we need that. Queen
Mm.
Ramonda has to die, so we need that.
I mean, she could have died saving a kid. She could have died
Oh,
saving.
set that place on fire if she just died saying some random ass little baby.
Oh, no, it. I was just about to say it didn't have to be a random ass little baby. She could have died saving. I don't know if we get. I'm just saying she could have died saving. Let's say shit. Even if I say she could have died saving somebody important.
And then we find out at the end. Okay, I see you. I could
Mhm.
work with that. I could work with that. I could work with that. I see what you're going there. I see what you did.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
what I'm saying. Like you
Okay.
don't need Riri for that. And I mean, you could still have the somebody made up a vibranium finding machine, and that's how they got a little bit too close to Talokan for Namor to be happy, and they just couldn't find the scientist, and he was like, "No, I think you found them, and you're holding them, and I'm
Yeah.
pissed off."
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like you didn't really need to me. I don't need Riri Williams at all, which is not to say that it wasn't a good
Cool.
part of the story. I
Yeah.
think Ironheart is fantastic. I was happy to see it in a movie. I'm
Hmm.
just saying,
That was the
when
weakest
we're
part.
talking about could it have been cut, it could have been. That's the
Yeah.
extra 10 tracks on the Carter 5, Riri Williams.
Yeah. Because she was also, I mean, they threw in some comedy. We said that this is a heart-wrenching movie, and not heart-wrenching, but emotional movie.
Hmm.
And they had some weaving of comedy in it, and Riri was that like comedy relief for the
She
most
was.
part.
She was, in
Um,
fact. I will give her that.
and some of the like the scene in the dorm room with her
Hilarious.
Shuri is very hilarious. I would have loved to have kept that, especially when, after the conversation that Shuri and we're having it about her hair, about her head being not matching the Fenty,
Oh,
the
yeah, not
Fenty
matching
swatch.
the
Yeah.
makeup.
I,
Oh, man.
I,
When, I got to say, when M'Baku called her a bald headed demon. Oh, I'm sorry. That was hilarious.
that was
Found out later
hilarious.
that that line was improvised.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a YouTube video that shows some of the stuff in there, and that's pretty much all the stuff that was improvised. You were like, man, it just hit you. So you know what? I have to give prop too to Winston Duke. He played that character. He really, really did.
What I'm saying, everybody did a good job. Everybody.
I also was cutting onions when Angela Bassett stripped. Damn, I can't think of her name. I was just talking about her.
Okoye.
Okoye. What? Just really when she stripped her of her duties,
Yeah.
and the lady, and Okoye is just like, please don't do this to me. Don't take this from me. And because I've been in situations like that, I literally felt everything in me, just like the way Angela Bassett delivered that line. She was just like, my family, my entire family is gone. I have done this and that, blah, 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 blah. Have I not suffered enough? And Okoye looked at her with, tear coming down her eye, like, you know what, you're right. Let me just shut the hell up.
Yep.
That entire scene, I felt on so many levels I never even thought about. And when I went home, day after, on Sunday, hell, on Monday, I was thinking about that scene and other scenes in the movie, but that scene in
Yeah.
particular, I was like, man, so, whew,
You know what? I saw this online as well. This is something I wanted to say about that you brought up that dorm room scene
hmm
where remember at kind of towards the end of it, Riri is holding up that like heater, and Okoye says, "Oh, the tiny girl is going to beat Namor with a heater," and it's a joke, right? It's
oh,
hilarious. At the end of the movie, how do they beat Namor?
what?
They
That
beat
never even
him with
occurred
a
to me.
heater. It's basically a heater.
That never even occurred to me. Never even occurred to me.
Yep. Killmonger made an appearance. I knew that shit was gonna happen. You can't have a Ryan Coogler movie without Michael B. Jordan in it somehow. I think that's just how the world is
Is
set
it
up right now.
is it written in the contract?
I think it's just in the contract. If Ryan Coogler
Mm.
direct Black Panther 3, Killmonger coming back again.
Yeah.
It worked
That
for the
part right
movie. I'm not
there,
saying it didn't work, but it worked. I like that
it
part.
very much worked for the movie, and I think it spoke to a lot of stuff. I don't know if you've been seeing some of the headlines where they're talking about people are angrier than ever. They're feeling more dejected and depressed and disconnected from people more than ever. So that really, that scene just spoke. And it was just like, even a princess can feel like that because there can be a lot that you've been going through. And, as a nation, people in the world, last 3 years, there's been a lot that we've all been through together and then also separately. If this was a theme that I think a lot of people can relate to, this was it. It's just like you going in expecting, or hell, it's like you have an out of body experience, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna see my family, or my grandma, or the people that I love, and it
Hmm.
is somebody you are wholeheartedly not expecting.
Yep. He was just like, you know what? We the same. I'm pissed off just like you. Now what?
Mm,
What you gonna do
never
about it?
occurred to me that he would also be in the ancestral plane.
Yeah. Yep.
That never
I
even
mean,
occurred to me.
he was a Black Panther for a little second.
And part of that family as well. So yeah, you're
Yep.
right. Never even occurred to me.
Man, what else? Oh, a detail at the end that a lot of people probably missed. M'Baku is the king of Wakanda now.
Yes.
Yeah, just throwing that out there. At the very end, Shuri is the Black Panther, which has happened before where you have the Black Panther not be the king. In fact, that's how it was the first time we see T'Challa. And
Yep.
what was it? Which,
Civil War.
which? Yeah, in Civil War. His father is the king, but he is the Black Panther. So that's actually a normal thing for the king to not necessarily also be the Black Panther. So yeah, like they go to have the little ceremony. Shuri decides to go to Haiti and not be there, and M'Baku challenges for the throne. Obviously, no one's there to challenge him, so he's the king now.
Yeah, I don't think that was understood by people.
It wasn't expressed well.
Yeah.
Like the
And
only way it made sense to me was to have him, Winston Duke, in interviews saying, "Yeah, M'Baku is the king now."
but I don't think people were actually even thinking about it at that point because honestly, everything seemed to be over and it was just like, oh, okay, what's about to happen now?
It's an afterthought.
What's about to happen now? And then they Jules, they move in and they stab you again to cut them
Oh yeah, that was
onions.
the last one.
Yeah.
All right, so since we already told you this is the spoilery part of the thing, I feel like we're safe to go ahead and reveal it. So yep, she goes to Haiti, and that's when we find out that now I can't think of a name. Lupita, what's her name in the movie though?
That's the thing. I keep messing up because I know her in the comics as Malice, but that's not her real
That's not
Nakia.
who she is. Oh, Nakia, yeah, Nakia. So T'Challa and Nakia, in fact, got married and had a son that they decided to keep away from Wakanda so that he wouldn't grow up with the pressures of I have to be ready to be the king. Again, another emotional moment for a lot of people in the movie theater.
No, that wasn't even the one I was talking about.
Oh, it's not. Oh, what you
No,
talking about?
when she burned
Oh, when she
her
burned
funeral.
the oh yeah, the
Yeah,
funeral garments. Yeah, okay, I got you.
yeah.
When she finally, oh, that's another thing that they kind of briefly touched on it, but I don't think they really expressed it well. Was that this whole time she has not been like into the whole spiritual side of the Wakandan culture. Like she's been all about the tech. And even when she goes into the ancestral plane, a line that I think a lot of people missed is Killmonger said, "You didn't even believe the ancestral plane was real, did you?
Yeah.
And also, you got here, and now you dealing with me." So,
Yeah, yeah.
and you can,
And
even in the beginning, she was avoiding burning the funeral garments. She dismissed her mom talking about how she, went into the jungle and kind of dealt with the grief and got, had a little spiritual moment to kind of let go of T'Challa's death, and she was like, "Yeah, that's just a construct of your mind. Like that, none of that is real." So that you're right. That's a moment where she's finally accepting, like, I have to deal with this for real, like internally, spiritually. Like, I can't just bury myself in technology. Yeah.
And again, that's another part that kind of spoke to me as being someone. I remember being in her shoes where I was just like, well, science is the way to go when it comes to stuff. Like, I have respect for the spiritual side of my life and for the religion and stuff that I grew up in, but it's just so much that I've seen. I can't really falter it. I can't put, stock into it.
Hmm.
And that conflict, you could see it through her actions and the stuff that she did throughout the entire movie, and just come to Jesus moment, basically, when she burned those clothes and, when she was about to kill Namor. It's just, you can't live life like that because you won't have a life. They're gone. Yes, you still here. Don't throw your life away for that, for some thought that you had years ago that you can't reconcile now. So
Yeah.
I really, 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 really felt that.
Yeah. Great movie.
Very much so.
All right. Now that you know that she got that, T'Challa had a son, imagine that same scene where Ramonda dies saving Riri, except there's this random kid in the throne room with her, and she's trying to save him. And then at the end,
Yeah.
that's when you find out who that is.
Yeah.
That I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have been no good leaving that theater at that point. Just snot balls and no. You didn't save the grandbaby.
Yep.
Because she actually did know. Other
She did
people just
know. Yeah,
didn't.
another thing
Yeah.
that people missed, which I guess was kind of the point, was like if you watch it again, you pick up on it at the
Yeah.
beginning when they're having that conversation by the river, just before Namor shows up. She says to Shuri, "Hey, I need to tell you something about your brother." I'm pretty sure that's what it was gonna be.
Yeah. 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 Pretty much. But yeah, that was a really good. That is a cool Black Nerd recommends that. If you're looking for streaming options, Jules is recommended House of Dragons more than once.
Yep.
I myself have been on an old school '90s trip, so I've been watching all the old school shows from the '90s on Fox, like Martin, Living Single,
Yep.
Hang on Mr. Cooper, and stuff like that. So
Hey, y'all go watch Martin, because she talked me into watching Martin. Y'all go watch it. It's funny.
it really is. It's held up. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and if you guys don't really necessarily know what any of those shows are, Martin was a show on Fox in the '90s by the comedian Martin Lawrence. Living Single was a show about growing. It literally was Friends before Friends, and it was more
Yep.
realistic, but it
Yeah.
was extremely funny. Hang on, Mr. Cooper, kind of liking that to Sister Sister, but just it's a teacher or whatever. That was a funny show as well. And I also started watching Jamie Foxx and the Steve Harvey Show. Just really good. Yeah, I've been going in the gambit. I've been having fun, man. Just having gut busting funny. If I know people are going on the holidays for the next few days. Of course, listen to our show. This was a longer one for you. It was supersized for Black Panther, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But after you listen to us, please go watch those shows. You can find them on HBO Max, I believe Netflix, and I think the other one is Paramount. I think.
Man, I'm not sure, but they're out there for sure.
Yeah. Please
Go
look
watch
them
the
up.
shows, man.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and call this one an episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to the Cool Black Nerd Podcast. Again, check us out on social media. Always go check out saywhatradio.com. There are several podcasts in our network that I think everybody would enjoy and love and just have a great time listening to.
Always. We out.